What's up guys, it's Joey. We are at Senders Only Garage. Today we're going to be working on a Pan America, putting on the new TC Bro rotors. I'm going to show you the tools needed, how to use those tools and go about it, and what she looks like when it's done. So let's get into it. Alright, so the Pan Americas are dual disc, so we have one for the rear, two for the front. We're going to go ahead and get those unboxed and see what they look like. So these are fixed rotors. It's material that we have been using for a couple of years now on the stunt bike, and we have yet to have an issue. If we ever swapped one, it was just because we wanted the bike to look all fresh and brand new again. But they haven't wore on us. They've been good to us. So we're going to jump into the front wheel first. The axle is a 22mm Allen. We're also going to need a 5/16 Allen for the brakes, a T40 for the actual rotor bolts. That's going to be it for the front. Alright, first thing we're going to do is drop both calipers and get them out of the way so the wheel will come out. Okay, gently pull those off. I'm going to leave the bolts in them and just kind of let them hang. Okay, and then it's going to be connected right here to your shock. So we're just going to kind of gently, you got to remember that is hooked up to your suspension, so you don't want to tug on anything. And we're just going to gently pull it out of these. It's going to fall right down. Alright, now that the brakes are out of our way, we have a little bit of a clear path. I was going to loosen the axle, but I'm going to actually grab that T40 and loosen up this lock bolt. I don't know if this needs to come all the way out, to be honest with you, but I'm going to pull it all the way out just in case. Alright, now that the lock bolt's gone, I have a 22mm Allen in the axle. We're going to go ahead and back it out. Slide her out. Now we're ready to put some rotors on. Alright, so we have the T40 back out. We're going to go ahead and get all of these rotor bolts removed on both sides, and then we're going to get the fresh ones lined up and get them looking proper. Alright, first rotor off. Let's grab the other one off. Alright, we got fancy little thread chaser. We're going to clean out these threads. They come with a lot of Loctite from the factory. Easy to cross thread them. So we're going to get these cleaned out and then get the fresh rotors thrown on. This removes all the factory Loctite or any dirt and grime that's going to get in there. You can see it all coming out. So we're going to put this up and down in each one a couple times and then blow it out with some air. A little dab of blue Loctite on these Johns. I'm gonna make it a little hard on the camera here, I'm sorry. But we're just gonna do a little dab on each one. The interwebs are calling for 16 to 24 foot-pounds. This thing does get ridden off-road, so I am going to go to the top of that list where they said 16 to 24, and I'm gonna do 24. And then we're back to our old trusty T40. I just got to find it. So I'm weird, but I did line the TC Bros logo up with the Harley logo on the wheel on each side. So the logos will be at the same place. We're going to set that on, and same thing. We're going to get these bolts lined up, 24 foot-pounds, and then get the wheel thrown back on. Realistically, you should have done a good enough job cleaning the threads that they all go in, but that factory Loctite does work very well, so it's okay if they get a little tight. Alright, same thing, back to 24 foot-pounds, keeping the torque wrench nice and level. Alright, bolts all torqued to spec. let's slide the wheel back on and get moved on to the rear. All right, lining this thing back up. Spacer is obviously connected because it's our ABS module. Your axle is gonna act like the spacer on this side. So it's really just about getting in there lined up well, getting this pushed through, making sure your spacer's lined up nice, and going from there. Just a little bit, or it will end up f***ing everywhere. We're just gonna put a little drop. That's it. Slide that in real nice like. I'm gonna do it the lazy way because I got a bad shoulder and get it started. Once it's almost all the way through, I'm gonna take this little spacer. I'm gonna also get it started so it grabs it like so. And then we're just gonna lift it up. And it's not gonna be the easiest thing to get lined up, but it should just slide in like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and tighten the axle. All right, we got our 22 millimeter back in here. I'm gonna do this by hand just to make sure that it all goes in nicely. Got the thing. Go deep as possible. We're gonna get it all as tight as possible. All right, 22 in. I'm gonna snug that up. Probably a torque spec on it, but if you're looking at a dirt bike kid, we're just gonna put her nice and tight. This bolt, I never quite figured it out if it needed to come all the way out, but if it did, it wasn't in my way. You can try leaving it in, but I took it out just to be safe. It's very important that you tighten down this first. Okay, let's throw the brakes back on. All right, I was gonna throw new pads on this thing, but they're literally brand new. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open these up a little bit. Give myself all the room I need to have these slide right on the rotor, not get caught up. And I'm going to slide it right on, just like so. Get the bolts out of your way. Again, this stuff isn't just gonna go right on like it's, you know, you gotta kind of work with it a little bit. Get both of these bolts started. Grab your 5/16 Allen and get them tightened down. All right, let's throw the other one on. Same thing for this side. Pads look good. Just gonna go ahead and open these up. And then we're gonna slide it right onto the rotor like so. Gonna line these bolt holes up. Get them started. And then now remember these lines that we took out at the beginning of the day. We're gonna pop all this stuff back on how it's supposed to be. That goes onto the brake line. That goes onto the brake line. Factory. Tighten up these calipers onto these new rotors and then get back to the rear.
Scale from 1 to 10, how easy are these things to put on for your average person?
Average person in a motorcycle world, like your average motorcycle guy, it's a solid, it's a 4 out of 10. You're gonna have to go get a couple little Allen wrenches and stuff that you might not have. That 22 millimeter is a big Allen. But as far as tackling it on your own, it's very doable. Just take your time, you know. All right, so the front wheel's wrapped up. I got the brakes back on, axle back in, Loctite, anti-seize, all that good stuff. They honestly went on really well. The fitment's really good. They look great compared to stock. Let's keep the ball rolling. Get to the rear wheel, go over that, and get this bike back on the road. Okay, so here's another step that I haven't done this before. Pan America, I just know I could do it. I'm gonna take off these two T40 bolts and just get this brake out of my way. Again, it may work just like a lot of other bikes and pull right out, but I'm just gonna get it out of my way. I'm gonna grab a rag and throw it in between here and here so it's not scratching the old swing arm. I'm just gonna let her hang, and then let's get the pulling the wheel off. Big. All right, so I'm just gonna be open with you guys. Big axle nut. The 36 fits it really nice. Don't hold me to that, but It's definitely not gonna make the nut look like, I'm trying not to cuss, bad. And that's what we're gonna use. So 36, I'm gonna loosen this wheel, take the chain guard off, go from there. Okay, going a little backwards on steps. I'm gonna take the chain guard off and then continue. Wow, it's very big. That's unfortunate. All right, another tool made its way out of the box. It is a T25, and that is gonna pull your chain guard off. Does it need to come off? Maybe not. Have I learned to just get shit out of the way? Yes. I did also just learn that the chain guard is like a whole mud flap thing. So we got one bolt over here underneath the exhaust. Like I said, it might not need to come out, but I just like to make room. So we're gonna remove this whole little guard. Another tool has made its way out of the box. 1/2 inch. We're gonna loosen up these chain adjusters, let some tension off the axle. So hopefully now it'll come right out. That stays. There goes the spacer. Oh, it's a push pull, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna hold that sprocket in while we pull the chain off. Otherwise that push pull is gonna wanna fall out. We move the brake so we're in the clear. And then we're just gonna roll that right out of the back. Push pull wants to come out, so I'm just gonna let it come out. Set that down. Show you how that goes back in later. But we're here to swap this. So let's do that. I put them on the ground because you have more leverage. There's a lot of different ways to get to the same finish line, but this is the way I prefer to do it. I get all of them loose, and then I pull them like that, get it up here, and then now I can pull them all out. We forgot the best part. Should we pull it out of the box for them? Probably show them how sick the rear rotor is, huh? Boom, old and busted. What does he say on the movie? Young hotness. I don't know. She fresh, dude. I'm gonna put a little bit of blue on each bolt. Make sure they stay in there. You definitely don't want these coming out. Oh, that's a lot. We'll just share a little bit, you know what I'm saying? All right, let's get this John on. Wow, look at that. We'll just put the Loctite one in first. These are just gonna give you a little bit of a better feel. The main thing is longevity, right? These are gonna work for a long time. You're not gonna have issues with them, and they're just gonna stay good. Realistically, you should see, you know, a better airflow through these. They are being ridden off-road, so any kind of upgrade's good, especially braking, you know? So these rear rotor bolts are the same size. Everything, I use the same chaser, all that stuff, so I'm gonna do the same thing, 24 pounds. Remember, keep this nice and flat. All right, rear's on, looks snazzy, matches these nice fronts. Yeah, honestly, I'm happy with the quality. I'm really happy with the fitment. Made my life easy getting them on, getting the wheels off. It's harder than getting the rotors on. So let's get this thing back on, show you how to do that, and move on. The push pull fell out earlier, taking the wheel off. So we have a ring connecting all these. You're gonna go ring side down, and you're gonna set it right over these divots, or whatever you want to call those, ribs. And then this sprocket is going to go right into those. So we're going to line this up with that hole. It's going to sit in. Just like any of your standard push pull setups. So if you're having an issue with that part, go ahead and look up push pull. They come on a lot of bikes, and you'll find a lot of info how to get that back in there correctly. But remember, ring side down, sits right in. Same thing, just a little bit, just a little bit. So first thing we're gonna do getting this rear wheel back on is we're gonna slide it as far forward as possible, and we're gonna get the chain on. That's important with the push pull so that you're not dealing with a bunch of movement here in a little bit. Okay, and the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide that spacer in between the swing arm and there. It's obviously gonna need to go very far up, and then come around on this side. I'm gonna snake that down in there, and also line this one up. This is going to be a little bit of a pain because the wheel is pretty far down on the lift. Owie. And it's going to fall out a few times. So on the OEM kickstand, it is pretty far down. So I went ahead and placed a small piece of wood underneath the tire just to make my life easier. So I've got the spacer back on this side. We're gonna start by sliding it through the chain tensioner. We're gonna gently pull the wheel back, and you're gonna have to kind of play with the spacer a little bit here. All right, got it started. I'm gonna slide her through. Yeah, I'm not gonna tighten that all the way up, so I need to tighten the chain. Took the caliper off earlier to give myself some more room. So we're gonna keep that ABS line right on the outside of it. And we're gonna slide it right back into place. Throw these bolts back in. We got rear caliper mounted, obviously new rotors on, everything's ready to be snugged up. I'm gonna get the chain to a place that I'm happy with it. Then I'm gonna tighten the axle, then I'm gonna tighten the adjusters again, and then I'm gonna go ride this thing. I mean, right now it's gonna be looser than it really is because it's up on the stand. Tighten up this axle. Okay, we got the trusty old 33, and I had to get a 1 1/4 inch out to hold it. Is that what you call it? 1 1/4. There's a torque spec on this. I'm just gonna go nice snug like a dirt bike kid. And last thing we're gonna do is throw this chain mud flap contraption back on. Bolt right there, bolt right there, bolt right there. Remember earlier in the video when I said only use a little bit or it'll get everywhere? It's everywhere. Foley said I look miserable, and I'd like you to know that I've never been happier. Just gonna mess with the microphone. That's it. Mud flaps on. I'm dirty, hot, and sweaty. I'm gonna go ride it, make sure everything's good. I'm gonna hit this a bunch of times, check the brake. But I think that concludes putting on some Pan Am rotors here at Center's Only Garage. I'd like to thank the Media Pub for always coming down and getting these videos done with us. I'd like to thank TC Bros for continuing to give me the opportunity to show you that, you know, borderline unqualified mechanic can do this kind of stuff. So buy the parts, put it on, figure it out. If you can't figure it out, go back to the page, and there'll be somebody like me at the bottom trying to encourage you, because we got this. Get it on. Thank you, TC Bros. Cut.